Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to more naval art. All of a sudden, I have two new games that both are designers. One is NavalArt and the other one is Sprocket, where you can design your own tank. But more on that tomorrow. Today I want to try and design my own cruiser. Now this is going to be the first ship build that I do. And don't expect any results that are going to astound you, but I'm just going to see how quickly I can throw together a ship, especially with these beautiful design modules. It's going to be a cruiser-ish build, and that means it's not going to be terribly large or terribly long, but I do want to make sure it has a good width to support quite a few guns. Now this is going to be first a lower layer of hull, then a second layer, and then the deck, and by doing that I can paint the different modules separately. Let's see if the guns that I have in mind, which are about 8 inches, so that's 152 mils, if they will fit on this hull. Here we go, we got the German 150s. Yeah, that should fit quite nicely. I mean, currently not so much, but that will be resolved. Alright, lower hull first. I'm just going to stack forward a whole bunch. And then I suppose we can start tapering off. So I can start to reduce the forward spread. So forward width is going to be lower by 4 blocks. Or 4 meters? Inches? I'm not even too sure what that is. And we're going to end it up at 0. It's a pretty abrupt way of closing the hull, but it should be fine. Then on the stern, same thing. Backwards width, down 3, down 3, down 3. At this rate, the stern looks like it might actually be a bit longer than the bow. And let's just taper it off to nothing. Backwards width, none. Alright. Looks to be decently balanced. Okay then, top module. Again, the reasoning for this is to ensure that I have a little line that I can paint. Because if I, for example, want to have that usual black coating, and then a red line, and then grayish paint on top, I found that this is the way that you can do it. So I can set this up as black. And there you have your lower layer of hull. Currently though, it's going to make it a bit more difficult, because it makes it more complex to see what module is what. Whereas if I do it like this, I find it a bit easier to be selecting things. So over here, I want to have a module on top. Sometimes that doesn't work. The button disappears. What I found to work is then to save the design and reload the design. And once you have it reloaded, it instantly allows you to put another module on top. The height for this one is going to be quite a bit less. And then I can snap it into place. And we're just going to be doing this for all of them. So height gets reduced by another one. By 3 in fact. There we go. Alright, let me finish that extra line up. There we go. That's the second layer of the ship done. And now I can apply my paint job. So I'm going to set one line as red. It's probably not the right red, but I am colorblind. And no, that does not mean that I don't see any color. It just means that I have more trouble distinguishing colors from each other. So let's say contrast. So for example, blue and pink or red and pink, stuff like that becomes problematic. Anyway, now we're going to go back to gray, because now I want to have another one on top. And that right there is going to be the deck. In the meanwhile, I could already do a sort of float test to see how well this thing will work. Here we are. As you can see, the ship is still fairly high in the water. But I think that has to do mostly with it not being loaded down with parts. And of course, because of that, it's actually a bit deceptive about how buoyant the hull is or isn't. So let's go back to the designer and continue working on the ship. All right, time to start layering up the hull. I'm going to make this top layer a bit wider, and that is the forward spread, I think. Yeah. And by doing this, I create a bit more deck space. Maybe I should have done that with this line, but I'm going to try and do it with this. And you can make this thing really as wide as you want to, but of course, if you very quickly, like this, switch from one width to another, it's going to look a little weird, and I don't really want that. Stack forward, forward width a bit more, and then the forward spread. I'd say the forward spread is fine. It might even be a bit tall, this ship. Stack forward, forward width, a bit more. I love this designer. It just makes it so easy to very quickly build a ship to your specs. Various other design games can really take a cue from this thing. I wonder how many guns I can fit on this baby, by the way, because this is probably going to house a lot more firepower than I initially had in mind, as I might have made the ship a bit bigger than I arguably should have. Oh, by the way, here... yeah, I think that's the problem. I'm not entirely content with the way that the hull tapers off to the bow. So, fortunately, you can just easily, very easily, redo it. Stack forward, because I at some point went from 3 to 4. So now I'm going to do only 3s. Stack forward 3. So we're going to go to 14, to 11, to 8, to 5, to 2, and then to 1. It doesn't exactly line up, but I could just cheat a little, if you will, and make it a little shorter. There. Okay. And now that bow looks a little better. At least, I think so. Okay, stack a module on top. Oh, sorry, no, I can just easily use this one. We're going to stack forward. And that width is going to be, again, -3, -3. You can also just scroll this, by the way, which I found to be fairly convenient as well. Stack forward. That was 2, and then it is... actually, can I stack this one top? And just make it less tall? Oh, that was a bit... oh, it's 4. There we go. It's supposed to be 4. And now, I think it's one of the axes that's not quite working. Stack forward. Oh. Yeah, now I have the bug again. So that's the hull completed. Now let's see how much room I would need if I want to add a gun. If I want to add weapons. The weapons, we have various options. I was just planting the 150s. Those are the German 150s here. But I might be able to go as big as 203s here. Oh, they even, on this hull, even here, they look fairly small. Maybe I can go something a little bigger. And this is what I mentioned. It is entirely likely that I'll end up with bigger guns. We got French... oh, these are quads. Quad 330s. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting somewhere. Alright, let's say I would want to design a barbette. If I want to do that, I can probably just use a part of adjustable hull. And I can rotate that. You got quite a few of these rotator things there. Now the front has roundness here. Now it's perfectly round. Based on the size of that turret, it probably needs to be a bit bigger as well. Maybe not so much the length, but the yeah, here. Forward width, backwards width. If I want to build another turret on that, would that look okay? Fringe. Here. The game doesn't quite understand how exactly I want to place that thing down. Which is fine. I'll just have to adjust it a little bit. You, go. You, rotate. Okay, now we can move you. Move this way and move into the deck. Apparently that barbette is not big enough yet. Okay. Length is... I think length is okay. It's just the height that needs to increase. Maybe a bit more even. Alright, can we push this turret down now? Not bad. It sits a bit high. There's your barbette. Push this thing down a little bit. There. Not terrible. Not terrible. We're still looking towards the bow. I wonder how deep the ship's going to be when I have these installed. No, it's okay. You can see that the black line, especially on the bow where part of the weight is a bit lower. But aside from that, it's fine. And the guns function as expected. Good. Now I'm going to copy this design to the stern. Oops. Unfortunately, I have found that there is not really a copy mode, or I haven't found it yet. Which is unfortunate, because I would very much appreciate that. Anyway, yeah, see, if I just Ctrl-Z, Ctrl-V, sorry, Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V, it doesn't work. Whoops. What did I just do? Look at that, you can you can get the barbette to bounce around. This thing, by the way, as adjustable hull, I can set that to 100 millimeters of barbette armor. And of course, this will impact the stability and, well, functionality of the ship. I think this, however, goes for all parts of your ship, but I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, not really. There. I can just easily drag over it. I can say I want the whole deck to be 100 millimeters. Looks like I'm designing a battleship after all. The underwater part can be less, can be 76 mils. And I'd say that, well, let's make the lower part 32 millimeters. And then I want my belt to be 100 millimeters as well. This probably all adds to the weight of the ship. So we're going to have to put a fairly powerful engine in here to make sure that this thing will actually go somewhere. Speaking of, in its current condition, the game does not have that much when it comes to chimney options. And chimneys provide firepower, or provide horsepower, thus maneuverability. I could go with a Japanese funnel like that, and that way you can immediately put a whole lot of power on your ship. 150,000 horsepower. I think that's the most that you can get. This is 20,000 for a US cruiser. German chimneys 150, 140 for the Japanese chimney 1, and the tiny chimneys a mere 3,000. That's more for DDs and such. Now, this is the part where I'm probably going to struggle. I'm going to need a superstructure. Give me a minute. Time for a midship update, if you forgive the pun. I thought that this was going to go way faster, but as it turns out, building superstructures is something that I am not good at. What I have done here is use 2 adjustable hull segments to create a sort of sloping superstructure. The whole thing is entirely superfluous to needs because the game, at least currently, does not have crew. I have a funnel, I have another observation bridge, if you will, and a radar. So by doing this, I at least have something that resembles a bridge. And I'm going to be pursuing a bit more superstructure here and have another turret on the stern. So let me get to that. A little while later, the ship looks like this. I have added another one of these adjustable hull segments together, and that makes up for the, let's say, the secondary superstructure, if you will. Another funnel provides a ton of power, and more firepower is provided by another quadruple 330. So I've built a sort of Richelieu class, if you will. Although I think the Richelieus did not have any stern turrets. But then again, this is my design, so it doesn't have to be historically accurate. Now, time to put on some more guns, because these platforms have room for guns. And since I am already working with a French sort of hull, actually, this might be too big. I thought, you know what, we might be able to put 5ers in there, 5 inchers. I might be a little out of place. Yeah. Okay, we're going to need something different. We're probably going to need some smaller American guns, anti-air fashion, and that way fit these things in. Let's see, what sort of guns can we fit? It's all going to get bigger from here on. Yeah, sure, let's build modernized Richelieu with a Phalanx class Sea-Wiz close-in weapon system. Might be a bit much. I would like a couple of 50 cals or something to that effect. Yeah, here. The 1-inch guns. You got Swedish Bofors. Ooh, does that fit? No, it's too big. Get the Japanese single barrel 25mm. Type 96 might also be a bit big. Well, no, that might actually fit. Let me relocate that. I suppose that would fit. All the history buffs are screaming, no, you cannot just put German, French, and whatever other tech together, sorry, Japanese, without punishment. Oh yeah. Watch me. Let's see if I can get this thing slightly better positioned. Z-axis is fine. There, whoops. There we go. Anti-air. Again, it would be fantastic if you could now just make it so that you get copies, but what I can do is press M if my position is good, and I can immediately copy it, just mirror it. And I can have another one over here. And I'll do the same thing over there. So now with light anti-air set up, because these are only 25mm guns, I can also adjust, or sorry, not adjust, but add some more firepower that might actually just be French. Let's set only the French guns. And let's see if I can find something that would reasonably fit these. These are a bit big, the 130s, but the 57s might, whoops, might look actually decent on a hull like this. So I can set up the 57s here. One there, one there. Yeah, let's rotate these. Not like that. Rotate this. Press M, mirror mode, mirror mode. And we now also have them on the other side. Okay, more guns. This one, well, I can just kind of keep it as is, I suppose. Don't strictly need to adjust it. What I want to have between these two structures is a launcher for a plane. This is something that they have added, and it allows you to send up, well, planes, duh, of your choosing. So I'm going to set this up like that. I'm going to rotate it. And I'm going to move it a bit. It is, in fact, on the deck. That's good. Let's see, what sort of a seaplane can we set up? Just to piss off the history buffs a bit more, I'm going to go with an American plane. I probably need to rotate that as well. Is that going to... Ooh. That's a bit tight, unfortunately. Bit tight. So let's just make this thing a little smaller. Make that thing a little bigger. There. Nobody's the wiser that this originally, whoops, didn't fit. Doesn't matter if these things clip through each other a bit. Relocate this one slightly. Relocate the plane slightly. Let's see if that works, shall we? I want to see if this thing can actually get launched. Look at that. That's what I've thrown together in the space of about 30-45 minutes. Okay, if you press T, you're going to go into RDS mode. We're going to start the plane up. Would recommend you not launch it into the superstructure. Uh-oh. Okay. I'm not sure exactly why the catapult turned. And why it only turned 45 degrees. But hey. That's how it works. And there's our ship down there. Anyway, the launching works. Sort of. It's just that for some reason the thing rotates a little bit. The catapult. And I don't really want to do too much about it. Alternatively, I could have a helo deck, a helipad on the stern, but for the theme of this particular ship, I would like to have this aircraft here. Alright, since I'm adjusting this anyway, I can make the secondary superstructure a bit less wide. And that would allow me to position potentially some more guns over there. And that can be the guns of, let's see, what persuasion should we use there? We do have the other French. We've got the quadrupes. These are 130s. I think it's too big for over there. If I want to go for 40mm Bofors, that might fit. Like a couple of these. Rotate them first, and put them down. Rotate them again. Whoops, come over here. Turn. There. Mirror mode, and now I have them on the other side as well. Turning into quite the gun platform, this one. Now, you can spend a lot of time when it comes to decorations. You have all sorts of stuff that you can add onto the ship. Stairs, masts, ladders, British masts, the ship's helm, which I suppose you can put if you are particularly... let's say if you're particularly precise, I could put it over here. If I can select the up movement. Up. And that is the Z axis of the ship. Up a bit more. There. We're now for ship's wheel. Unfortunately, the bridge is too small for the ship's wheel. But that's a way that you can add the ship's wheel. I'm not going to spend too much time on all of that. I know it beautifies the ship a lot, but I just don't have the... I don't have the patience for this. I simply don't. But you can really seriously beautify your entire ship with this. Let me just try this one more thing. Did I just put it upside down or what? Hotkeys for maneuvering things around, R and T. Push it into the frame. That's a bit much. Cancel the rotation. That's the position on the deck. It should be the X position there. That way. So now our crew can actually get in and out of the ship, if you will. What crew? I don't know. Let's suppose that we have crew. Now, what else can you do? You can add giant Japanese cranes onto your ship. Of course, this one starts upside down because I have my modules a bit wired or a bit crossed, but you can add all sorts of stuff. And I'm going to leave that up to you. Let me just finish off the ship a bit more, and then we're going to take it into an actual battle. One tiny bit that I kind of forgot. Propulsion. It's only moderately important in any ship. So let me try and put this propeller shaft into a decent position and ensure that we can actually maneuver with this craft. Because being able to go somewhere is kind of useful when you're building a warship. Let's see. What sort of props could I fit on this? At least credibly. That's the transmission set. This is fairly large, but I suppose I can make that work. And again, the props I think don't really impact your ability to maneuver that much. At least they don't impact your speed. What impacts your speed is the amount of horsepower and the general shape of your ship. At least that is my current understanding of it. So if you have a really thick ship, you might have the ability, for example, to maneuver better, but you might not be as fast. Whereas if you have a nice, sleek ship, which is long, you're of course going to be, well, probably faster, with the potential problem of not being able to turn so well. So you got all sorts of potential problems there. I don't need the build tool. I just need to be able to put this thing on there. Yeah, quite not like that. Up. This is one thing that I think the game can definitely improve upon. The ability to put props down easier. Because just wrestling this thing into place is not something I really enjoy. This could really be made quite a bit easier. Put it on the Z-axis. Push it out a bit more. I'm not even sure if it's attached or not. It's definitely, no. Definitely not in the middle anyway. There? I guess? But now the whole thing might be a bit too high. So let's put the Y-axis down. Like that. Mirror, mirror. So now we have the ability to maneuver. We just can't steer very well because we don't have a rudder. Officially, I think I'm no cruiser. I'm probably bigger than a cruiser, smaller than a battleship. So that puts me in Battlecruiser territory, I suppose. Rotate this like so. I think. Maybe? No, rotate. Forward a bit. 90 degrees is fine. Let's see how I can attach this to the ship. Because snapping this thing into place doesn't really work too well. This needs to be exactly centerline, of course. Just sort of stick it right into the back end of the ship. You could also, if you want to, make this thing a bit wider and have the rudders sitting behind the props. I suppose that would work too. All right, let's give it a test. Let's see. Yeah, props are spinning. Ship is speeding up. 10 knots. That's good, but will she turn? She's thinking about it. Yep, she turns. We have maneuverability, but turning is something that this ship does not do very well. Unfortunately, it doesn't do it very well. Not my proudest creation in any game, but hey, for somebody who has, I think, less than 10 hours into the game, I think it's not terrible. Could be a battle brick, if you will. Steering definitely needs some time. But hey, the ship is doing 35 knots. I think that's really good. That's my anti-air going off automatically against an enemy seagull. So that's an enemy plane. And that immediately shows you how anti-air works. It is automatic. It is, however, not very accurate, apparently. Although, now this thing seems to be, there we go, seems to be going down. Alright, let's save it and then put it up against the enemy. Okay, let's see, who do we want to battle against? Let's start with an Atlanta. Let's start with something fairly easy. Commence the duel. The Atlanta has 22,286 hit points compared to my 37,000. Still, when I showed you Yamato in the last video, that was actually quite a lot heavier, and I think at 140,000 hit points. As some of you might have pointed out in the previous comments or in the previous video, I am a terrible shot, so feel free to gloat about my absolute inability to hit anything. But I will nevertheless try. I'm also interested to see just how much I can deflect their shells. Bit more lead. Taking a little bit of damage. That's better. But no penetration with an AP shell? Wow. That is fairly unexpected. And these are AP shells that I'm firing. Too high. Let's aim a little lower. Try to hit their citadel. There we go. Penetration, 21,000 damage. Their ship is on fire, but I believe that that does not mean it does any... or it takes damage over time. Ah, the smaller guns are also in range now. So we should be able to bring those, what were they, 5 inchers to bear? There. Great rate of fire on those. That's impressive. I mean, utterly inaccurate the way that I was just doing it in cinematic view, but it kind of worked. I lost 5,000 hit points in that encounter, but then again, this was just an Atlanta. Let's look for something a bit more difficult. Let's see, what else did I have available? The Kirov Cruiser, a Jaguar Destroyer, the New Mexico. How about a New Mexico? I suspect that New Mexico, yeah, that thing has a lot more hit points than I do. Armor piercing. I'm gonna try and stay outside of secondary range, at least my own secondaries, because I doubt that those 5 inchers are gonna be doing anything useful here. Accuracy leaves something to be desired. Ship is maneuvering, turn to port. Let's see. Follow the shots. Bit too low. Range 17 clicks. Own speed 36 knots. I consider that fairly impressive for a ship quite this size. Let's turn a bit more to port to allow the stern gun to involve. Ah, overpen. Still, there's 60,400 hit points left. Ow. Definitely starting to take hits from the New Mexico. Pen, no damage? Come on now. Hit. Pen, 5,000 damage. Now we're talking. Module status? I think so far so good. Come on. Keep firing. Pen, no damage. That was a non-pen on me. Ah, pen, 750. I'm trying to angle the ship a little bit more to ensure that my armor, when bladed, hopefully does better. Everything's still functional. Miss. Miss. Hit? Hit. Pen. Right through the nose. 2,000 damage. I've lost 7,000 hit points. They've lost 9. I cannot really keep up that trade for too long. Because that was a big chunk of damage. Maybe I should have added torpedoes to a ship like this to ensure that it can deal with something a bit bigger. Ooh, Citadel. 37,000 hit points remaining. If I can get a couple more of those, that'd be great. Now, one of their modules is disabled. Does that mean that their bow turrets are potentially out of commission? Module destroyed. Hits. Turret destroyed. Yes. That's more like it. Unfortunately, I also have issues. One of my engines has been destroyed, so my speed is down to 26 knots. I destroyed another turret on the New Mexico. One elevator is repairing, which means one of my turrets is out. And I appear to have a bit of flooding going on. Armament, operational 82%, propulsional 80%. 2 gun turrets destroyed, and 1 engine has been destroyed. And also, I'm semi-submerged. Hold on. Did another one of my elevators get destroyed? No. So we should be fine. That was another big chunk of damage on my ship. Come on, stop doing that. It's like the gun wants to get involved, but kind of fails to. Range, 14 clicks. At least I'm keeping him at a fairly safe distance, I hope. Overpen. It's not what I need. I want to hit him more or less at waterline level to hopefully knock out one more of their turrets. Module neutralized. Elevator neutralized. Good. That's not quite the destruction of one of their turrets, but at least it'll ensure that they don't load. Overpen. Yeah. I think I have buoyancy issues. Oh well. Whatever you do, do not post this thing against Yamato, because it will eat you. Module neutralized. Elevator neutralized. Overpen. Couple of decent hits there. 13,000 hit points for my semi-submersible. 28,000 for theirs. But I wonder how many turrets are currently offline for them. Let's see. Oh, I cannot see what issues they have. Ooh. Oh, I lost another elevator. The B turret elevator is down. And because of that, I effectively only have 2 turrets, bow and stern. Come on. Missed. At this rate, I think I won't have a ship left soon. Because I'm also now in range of their smaller guns, which I think are 8s. And they're just slowly but steadily chewing me up. Oh, and one engine is getting repaired. And it's going to take me 2 minutes to do that. Come on. Nope, missed. Shot high. Follow the shot in. Module destroyed. Turrets destroyed and elevators destroyed. Yeah, but what elevator? Because I'm hoping that's their main batteries that are disabled. But for all I know, it's not. And it could be the elevator to their secondary armament. So far though, 10,000 hit points versus 5,000 for me. I'd say I'm trading positive. If I could just stay alive for a little while longer, that'd be great. Status? I'm not sure when or if that elevator is going to come back online, so I cannot use the B turret. Health down to 3,000 hit points. New Mexico's hurting and burning. Oh, is that the B turret? No. Not sure. Oh, they got me. Module destroyed. She lost her B turret, I think. I'm not sure if there is a way for me to see what sort of damage they've had, but it probably wasn't pretty. This ship is going to be in dock for a long time. Alright, one more. Let's see what else we can find. Rurik. Scharnhorst. That might be an interesting battle. Let's do the Scharnhorst. Commence operations. Especially when the ship isn't moving, I might be able to get a couple of early hits. Turn to port. Actually, no, it's turn to starboard. Do something a bit different. No hits. In the current version of the game, as far as I know, there is nothing that's like range finding and stuff like that. Yes, there are rangefinders, sure, but I do not believe they do anything. I was firing high explosive. That's also not very helpful. Maybe. Nope. Underestimated how fast the Scharnhorst is moving. That's the stern turret. A little better. Let's give her a bit more lead. See if that works. Too much lead. Missed. Come on. I wonder if they gave that Scharnhorst model some torpedo launchers. Overpen. Okay. She is, for hit points, fairly evenly matched at 32,000. Come on, Citadel Pen. No, not on me. I think I just lost a couple of secondaries. That's probably way too low. Not even that much. I'm starting to close to my secondary range. Ooh, beautiful. There we go. Now we're going to do a constant bombardment of 5-inch shells. Holy shit, that's going down fast. Maybe the 5-inchers are a bit overpowered, considering the rate of fire. Look at that! That was less than 3 minutes and Scharnhorst is dead. Huh. Alright, well, that's going to conclude the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed the build process. There are undoubtedly a lot of things that I can still change, and things that I can improve upon. But then again, I'm just getting started with the game. Let me know what your thoughts are. Constructive feedback, much appreciated. Laughing, not so much. Not very useful for either of us. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon for more videos.